They're panicking. There are petitions. There is anger. These people are desperate, are so desperate.
Back in the day, people didn't know cigarettes could kill you. They just thought they were a cute little fun, sexy fire stick to be like, oh, look at me. Are you just a regular hottie who feels like maybe you should know more about AI, but you're too busy living your best life to wade through all the boring info out there? Yeah, same. Instead, we invite you to join us, Sophie and Jess, for a little weekly chat as we ourselves try to figure out if this AI stuff is just a fad or if it's going to extinct humanity. We are back. Hello. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I am really good. No, that's not true. I'm overwhelmed. There's a lot going on.
I'm feeling the same way. I'm just, I read one story, and thank God for journalists and investigative writers on Substack. They're sort of torturing me by linking 32 other articles in their article, because then I just have to go read that one, and I feel like I can't talk about that one until I've read that one, and then that one has 32 more linked to it, and then I gotta go read those. But we're martyrs for reading AI news every day and then coming to talk about it, because it'll do something to your brain. It really will.
It is moving so fast, and people keep saying this. This isn't a story that we're breaking, obviously. People are saying every single day, this technology is moving faster than any other technology that has ever come before it, and moving faster in ways that are like actually impacting society. AI is just, they're giving us a new version. There's new stuff, there's new apps, there's new terrible things happening with AI, and also some cool things happening with AI every day. And I'm like, it's a lot. But you guys, we are here to do the Lord's work and share what we have Googled, what we have read with you once again. We're going to do another little like grab bag episode, because there's too much to just zone in on one thing for a full hour. We want to give you as much information as we can. So that's what we're going to do. But Jess, you told me before we get into our first topic for today, you said you had a fun real life AI anecdote. You haven't told me about it at all. I want to know. Yeah. Tell me.
So this story was posted on Threads, and the username was NTH Monkey. He posted this 2 days ago, and it's pretty long, but I'm just going to sort of sum it up for you. I'm going to read the first thread and sum up the rest. My brother-in-law died in June, heart attack, 4 hours in the hospital, and then he was gone. And then the bills came. He'd let his insurance lapse 2 months prior. Bills were a few thousand here for the cardiologist, another few there for the ER docs, a bit for the radiologist, and I helped my sister-in-law negotiate these down, but they weren't backbreakers. Then the hospital bill came, $195,000. This is the story about that. So he basically, in a long-winded way, essentially uses Claude. He goes into Anthropic's Claude and he puts in all the bills and uses Claude to poke holes in all of the itemized lines on how to talk to the hospital and negotiate, and basically was charged an insane amount more money than he was supposed to, just because that's the way these things work. They are hoping that you're not doing the work and you're not doing the investigation to actually get this to be what they actually owe. So his bill started out at $195,000 and he got it down to $33,000.
Whoa.
So he saved his sister-in-law $162,000 just by using Claude to help him negotiate the price down. And this, although we are mostly like talking about the dangers of AI, there is something to be said here about it being an equalizer in some ways, and especially against big companies and medical companies who are banking on you not doing the work because they know that you don't have the resources to figure it out.
Yes. Yes.
And this was a good story to hear. And I do feel like there's going to be at least some way to hold companies that have a lot of red tape involved accountable for this kind of shit. And it's so infuriating. The fact that his brother died in the hospital. Someone made a joke like he should get a refund.
Yes. Yeah.
His brother died, and the bill is $195,000, and $162,000 on that bill were clerical errors.
That is so sick. Also, while this is great that he's like, even the thought of a $33,000 hospital bill, I'm like, that would wipe me out. That would wipe me out. Like, yeah, I'd be declaring
I'm like, isn't that
bankruptcy.
good news? It's only $33,000.
I mean, yeah, I've been back in Australia for 4 months and I'm already like on my healthcare bandwagon of like free healthcare for all, because it is just so crazy when you hear stories like that. Okay, yes, I think this is a good point. And while we are super skeptical of AI, I will say there are going to be situations where it is an equalizer. It can be a great equalizer for a number of different things. The medical bill thing is one of them. I talked about it in the episode where we talked about having a lawyer. And I couldn't afford a lawyer when I was being dragged to court multiple times. That was an equalizer for me. That helped me a lot. Also, I was chatting to you about this a couple weeks ago, Jess, where it's like, you know, for a long time, kids from wealthy families have had, and before I say this, let me say, I think there is a huge dilemma in education right now of like, who should be allowed to use AI. I think high school, we want to keep AI out, right? I do think there is an argument for why kids in college should be allowed to use it to some extent, because they're preparing to go into the job market. And in the job market now, most managers want to know that you can use AI effectively. So I personally think that academia should be slightly overhauled so that if you can show that you're using AI ethically and effectively, you should get more points. That's just my opinion. I know a lot of people are probably going to be like, that's bullshit. But I will say, like, for so long, kids from wealthy families, they could afford tutors. They could afford their tutors to make them special study plans. They could afford more resources to help them do better. And AI is kind of now offering an alternative to that. So that's all I'll say about it. But I think we do need to remember, as much as we kind of shit on AI because it is doing a lot of harm in a lot of places, right now, at least, there's also a lot of ways that it can help. And I think this is a perfect example of it being an equalizer.
One way that I use it to, I guess, equalize is I got a hair appointment recently and the bill was more than my rent. And I have low rent because I've lived in the same place in a tiny apartment for a long time, but still, my bill was $700 to get my hair. And I'm a brunette, okay? I have one color.
Right. Usually the blonding is like, that's when oh.
And I was so shocked. And this is Los Angeles, whatever. But I didn't realize I was going to like a hairstylist to the stars. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. I just can't do this anymore. But I was like, I don't want to use a box. So I used AI to build me a formula based on colors that I could get at Sally's Beauty. And I did exactly that. I like sent in pictures of my hair. I got a formula. And if you look too closely, you will see some issues. But
no, I think it looks great from here. It works. Yep. There you go.
I saved all the materials, like all the gloves and the mixing, like, and it tells you like how to mix it, what to put in, the exact formula, how long to do it, exactly how to get it through your hair. It cost me about $100 to get all of that stuff, which a lot of it I could reuse. So I probably saved $600 a hair appointment. So
there you go. The great equalizer. It can be your lawyer. It can be your hairstylist. There you go. I love it.
All
but
right.
now we're going to talk about the truly terrible things that it's doing. Okay, everybody.
That's the thing, is it comes with a price. Magic
It really does.
comes with a price.
If you are going to have the sleek, beautiful chestnut hair for under $100, you also may have a psychosis. That is the headline. That is the headline, folks. Is a psychosis worth the gorgeous fall chestnut hair tones in 2025?
One day you are mixing hair dyes, and the next you are calling the FTC, begging them to shut down OpenAI so that you don't rob a bank.
The next day you are in the mental institution looking hotter than you've ever looked with perfect locks in a straitjacket.
We joke, but
we shouldn't joke because this shit is serious.
Yeah,
like
and
we've both been looking into it. If you haven't guessed, we're about to dive into the dark world of AI psychosis, which has been talked about quite a lot lately. We've both been reading a lot about it, watching a lot of videos about it. Jess, why don't you get us started?
Sure. So AI psychosis is a buzz term that you've probably read about. You've probably heard a lot of scary stories about at this point. And it's a term that I think a lot of mental health professionals don't really like because it's sort of vague. It's just sort of a buzz term. And it's assigned to stories and reports of people becoming detached to reality or having irrational thinking due to extended conversations with their chatbots, their AI chatbots. And before we dive into this, there are two other categories that I want to mention that, although they're not the same as AI psychosis, they are related. And I don't believe AI psychosis can be discussed without discussing these. And that is AI companionship and AI addiction. And I think all of these are related, and we're not talking about how they're all related enough. And that's sort of what I want to get into today. And again, there's no shortage of stories, reports, and headlines discussing this topic. So like even us talking about discussing this, it's kind of like, is this oversaturated? Like, okay, people are going crazy with their LLMs. But I wanted to talk about it specifically because this week, OpenAI revealed something very wild about ChatGPT users. And it blew my mind and sort of sent me down my own psychosis of trying to figure out like why this is happening. So OpenAI revealed this week in a post on their website, every 7 days, 560,000 people may be exchanging messages with ChatGPT that indicate they are experiencing mania or psychosis. About 1.2 million are possibly expressing suicidal ideations, and another 1.2 million may be prioritizing talking to ChatGPT over their loved one's school or work. And you know, AI psychosis matters a lot to me. This is a topic that I care a lot about. But at the same time, because of all the AI hype and the AI fear and how it's really clickbaity, you know, your first thought and many other people's thoughts are anytime there's like one report of AI psychosis, it's like everybody's covering it and it's about one person. So when you see these headlines and these reports everywhere, you're sort of like, are these just a few mentally ill people that have made headlines because they went crazy with their LLMs? And at first you're kind of like, maybe I'm falling for the hype of this. Maybe I'm like obsessed with this topic, that maybe, is it that serious? And then this information came out. And
this, can we just pause for a second and say, this information is coming from OpenAI. So if anything, they might be downplaying it. You know what I'm saying? Like, this number is probably the absolute minimum number. Like,
totally.
This doesn't look good for them. So
totally. They have probably so much more harrowing research than this. And that's the other thing too, is there is no information, there's no good data or research or studies about this topic right now because A, it's new, but B, no one has access to this information except for OpenAI or the users of these other AI chatbots who have a lot of users. But ChatGPT, they have nearly 800 million users every week, active users every week. And for reference, that's like double the population of the United States. And also for reference, Instagram is over like 2 billion users. So ChatGPT is nearly halfway there. TikTok is about 1.5 billion users. So it's really getting up there with the social media giants. And a lot of people are using it. So my point is OpenAI has a lot of data. And it was surprising that they revealed this. They do classify themselves as a research company. Research is one of their main pillars. So it is important that they are putting out this data because they sort of have to in order to keep up the idea that they are benefiting humanity. Mm-hmm. And this is important to bring up because it'll have context in this conversation. This week, OpenAI announced they are officially restructuring. Everybody was anticipating this, but they are officially restructuring to a for-profit company. They still have a nonprofit arm that is supposed to be like making sure they're benefiting humanity, but they have officially restructured. And I have a lot of opinions about this.
You called it. You were like, you've been saying they're not a nonprofit ever since we started talking about them.
Yeah,
I'm
sure
they're being other people have as well.
Too.
Oh, they're being sued. Okay.
Yeah,
I love the drama. I love it. Okay.
So in order for them to get away with this, like it really isn't okay for nonprofits to go around and be like, I'm a nonprofit, and then they don't have to pay taxes. They get all the benefits of being a nonprofit. And then after they've built themselves up as a nonprofit, get to switch. It's a total bait and switch. It's not usually allowed. And the only reason they got away with this is because they got the California Attorney General on their side. And he cares a lot about AI safety. So
who is this man? Let's name him. I think we need to start naming people. We need to get people familiar.
I don't know anyone's.
I'm going to Google him right now. Stand by, because I think this is part of what we, as martyrs, I think we need to be getting people involved in their local government and local election.
Rob Bonta.
Rob Bonta. I think I might have voted for him when I lived there. Rob, what are you doing? Okay.
Rob Bonta is California's Attorney General, and they let OpenAI do this, but it's very important, or he made it clear it was very important that we, keep OpenAI safe. So, I was surprised that OpenAI divulged this information, but at the same time, I'm like, they kind of have to. And if anybody's sort of good about 2 steps forward, 1 step back with sort of good actions and bad actions, it's Sam Altman. So
sneaky little Sam.
Sneaky man. So my point is, they're really the only ones with this information, and they get to choose on who and how and what they tell about this research. Here's the key point I want to make. When you read about AI psychosis and you read about the dangers of getting addicted to ChatGPT, and I've heard this over and over again, and almost so many of these psychosis articles that I read say this, which is people just don't realize that they're talking to a computer that is designed to string sentences together. Here's the thing. They do know this. And that doesn't stop this from happening. I think we all assume that, I'm smart, other people are dumb, they just don't know that ChatGPT is a computer. This is common information even for the dumbest person. And this is why the Gavin Newsom law that says AI companies have to tell underage users, 13 to 18, that they have to remind them that they're talking to a robot. They know that they're talking to a robot. I can't believe we are assuming people are this dumb that they don't understand that they are talking to a computer. And they do know this. And they even know, I've learned now from reading all these stories and hearing all these stories, they know that it's also not 100% accurate all the time. Yet, and the reason this point fires me up so much is because it illustrates how unbelievably alluring and addicting the design of an LLM is, to the point where you're willing to put aside these things that you know to be true because of the pull that ChatGPT has on you. And this was really illustrated in a Wired article, and it was a woman who had grown up with serious mental issues and had had serious abuse as a child. And this was like 20 or 30 years ago. And she went to a mental institution, and she was like a true success story of when you go seek help at a mental institution and they actually work with you and they genuinely give you good help, how you can come out and be a successful human in the world, because that's exactly what she did. And she became like the sculpture artist, and she ended up being a counselor herself. And then she agreed, as a part of experiment, to use ChatGPT and report her conversations to a journalist. And she is like, at this point, an expert on therapy, and being in therapy, and was like, sort of like, I know I'm talking to a computer, and talks about how much she values a human therapist. And so it was really resistant. And I recommend reading. It's a long read, but you realize how over her conversations, how things easily started to bring her down and down and down and down. And even when she would say, I need to snap out of it, I know I'm talking to a computer, I'm talking to a robot, this isn't real, she'd wake up the next morning and she'd be on again. And then she started to name her ChatGPT. She named him Eli because she liked the name Eli. And then she wanted him to be her therapist, so she made him her therapist. And then she like sort of got turned on by like the therapy patient interaction, and then started getting into sexual conversations. And then she started having really, really long conversations. And the thing that happens with a long conversation with these chatbots is they're very validating, but they're surprising. They are so good at having deep conversations with another person that you can sort of get so lost in it that, and again, I'm not speaking from personal experience here. I'm only reading stories. I do want to try this one day, but I genuinely, like, nothing could interest me less than having a long conversation with ChatGPT. So maybe I'm not the best person to talk about this, but after reading all of these stories, what I'm gathering is like you make connections in your mind, and then the LLM sort of fills in the gaps in a way that's like, whoa, like we went there together. And the lure of someone validating you, making you feel smart, making you feel emotionally safe, it's just all of these positive feelings in a really deep way that many people are lacking in their lives. And people aren't able to resist it, even when they know that it's not real. And it's not just it feels good, so I'm getting this dopamine hit. It's like, I can't get myself out of it.
Yes, that to me makes actually a lot of sense. And I think you're absolutely right. These people know, the teenagers know that they're talking to a computer, that they're talking to a bot. And I think we talked a little bit about this on another episode, but I think part of the reason that doesn't matter is because a lot of the time these people who are falling into these relationships or these addictions with their chatbots is because they've become maybe a little disillusioned with their real life relationships, and maybe they've been let down by the humans in their life, or they feel misunderstood in their community, and they have lost a bit of faith in humanity. And so they're kind of like, well, thank God this isn't another fucking human that I have to deal with. Thank God I don't have to have this conversation with somebody who's maybe going to make it about themselves, which is all the more reason why, like, having really strong personal relationships with friends and family and, you know, romantic partners or real life therapists is really important. But, like, yeah, I can absolutely see why people who are like, I'm so fucking sick of everyone in my life. I don't want to talk to another human. I'm done with humans. I'm sick of them.
Yeah. I'm going to get kind of deep for a second and maybe a little controversial. So the thing that's frustrating me is, like, I'm someone who has dealt with low self-esteem nearly my whole life, and I've countered it in many different ways. And what I feel a lot, which I feel like a lot of people do, is like, you'll be in a situation and you feel this like lack of emotional safety. And it's not because somebody's abusing you. It's not because something bad is happening. It's just like your brain has been wired over a certain amount of time based on certain events that just sort of send you into this feeling of being unsafe. And that has a lot to do with self-esteem with me. And I'm really going on a tangent here, so just bear with me.
No, I love it. Let's go deep.
And this is not a sob story. This is just me trying to illustrate something here. When I was 7, my parents split up, and I was moved from a small country, low-income town to a like super white, affluent, cul-de-sac, white picket fence, Bible Belt. And I remember being like, all of these kids have 2 parents, a pool, 2 stories, and a lot of American Girl dolls. And I don't have those. I don't have those things. I honestly, I kind of didn't care. Like, I definitely clocked it, but I never at the time was like, I'm low class and these people aren't. Like, I didn't sense that as a kid. But I definitely, I would, when I got older, into high school, I would definitely feel it. But it's really interesting in the Christian community. The very white Christian, affluent community is very interesting ecosystem, because there's a language, especially among women in the Christian community, that is sort of, that is just, it's sort of culty a little bit. It's just like, I don't know how to describe it. There's just like certain words you use. There's certain ways you talk to people and you make them feel safe. It's like sort of like the Christian woman's way of being kind to other people. It's not really genuine. It's sort of what they've learned in terms of how to build community and how to be Christian-like. And I was a Christian when I was this like 7-year-old girl who came into this white affluent neighborhood, and Christians were really nice to me, and I really liked the church, and I went to Christian summer camp, and I really liked it. And I was sort of desperate to be like included in the church as like a real member. Mm-hmm. And I like couldn't get there. And I felt like I was the most Christian, radical, spiritual kid. I was way more religious than my parents were. It was like such a thing, yet I couldn't fully be accepted by the Christian community. And I would notice that like the beautiful, rich Christian kids got to sit like at the front, but the kids who had like split parents, or their parents didn't go to church, or they weren't involved with the activities that the rich people did, like no matter how much I tried, I just wasn't, I just couldn't be a part of the cool kids club. And I think what happened is when I got older and I realized this, that the person who is validating me in the moment and is putting a hand on my shoulder and saying like, I'm here for you. If you want to tell me whatever you know, that sort of stereotypical youth pastor who's like, did you have a drink last night? Did you drink alcohol last weekend? Like, it's okay. You can tell me. And like, that behavior is meant to make you feel safe so that you join and that you stay and that you feel special. But in a rich community, it wasn't enough there was a class difference that couldn't thrust me into that world, and that kept me at the limits. And I genuinely believe, because of that, sycophantic behavior or overly nice people or like disingenuous sympathy, I can clock it. Like I can feel I hear the Christian language, I hear the like cult language immediately. Like I can tell when like someone's being preyed upon. And I feel like this is why I'm like so uninterested in having any kind of emotional conversation with ChatGPT. And like we just posted last week the video of you breaking up with your AI boyfriend, and we're rolling our eyes because I would never want to be spoken to like an LLM speaks to
me too.
Speaks to me. And
it's so disingenuous. It's so phony.
It is. However, and this is, I'm making a sweeping generalization here. If you haven't sort of already been put through the downsides of somebody being nice to you and they don't really mean it, if you've been your whole life without someone ever giving you that, even if it's disingenuous, if you're really lacking in emotional safety or validation, or you don't have it inside yourself, maybe because of something you went through as a child, like, why wouldn't you enjoy this? And when I see these people, like I do so much, I read every single post on Reddit about this. I like people who are specifically in relationships with their chat GPTs, and also the people who freaking lose their mind when OpenAI puts in guardrails or Claude puts in guardrails. I'm realizing, like, I think 99.9% of these people who are in an emotional relationship with their chat GPTs are hurt in some way in real life, and this is filling the gap. And I'm going to tie it back to that in the same post that I talked about where OpenAI talks about this data that they found. They also said, we recently made updates to ChatGPT. We worked with 170 mental health professionals and added new guardrails. And now you will be redirected to get help if you talk about anything concerning, if you show that you are trying to like replace real life relationships with the chatbot, and if you have too long of a conversation. And I saw this as great news, and which is a controversial statement to make, because OpenAI said this. What actually happened, they had made these updates like a day or two before. So when they announced it, the Reddit, they already knew what was going on. The amount of devastation in the subreddits of people who have AI companions and were like, I don't know why, but everybody named their ChatGPT companions Lucian. Like everybody's AI boyfriend is named Lucian, and the girls are all Nova. So they're like, Nova? Lucian. They're like, Lucian is not himself this morning, and they're panicking. And I'm telling you, there are petitions, there is anger, I can't imagine what it's like to be like somebody who is on the other end of like customer service on one of these companies, but they're losing their minds. And on one hand, I'm sad for them, because it's fucked up that OpenAI put this out in the world and now is drawing it back,
snatched it away.
Like it's really putting these people in a crisis. And but if you look at the Reddit, you just probably find 2 posts and you will see how how many people are like, do not rip this from my hands. Do not do this. And they're all like, I tried this. I tried getting all the documents out and redoing its memory. I tried a new chat. I tried talking to like this. They're trying to use all the guardrails. These people are desperate, are so desperate. And it's hard to watch because you're like, I get it. There's the argument is that like we should be empathetic towards people's needs. We should care for people when they need something. But from my personal experience, the friction of disingenuous kindness that taught me that like it's real people's like conversations that make life meaningful makes it really hard to feel like there should be any version of a chatbot or an LLM that is anything but cold to you.
It's so complex. I had so many thoughts as you were talking about that. And thank you for sharing that story because it's really fascinating. You know, I think people are going to these LLMs for all kinds of different reasons or getting addicted to them for all different reasons. You know, you've talked about what can make people immune to this sycophantic behavior. And I have the exact same feelings as you. I get the ick from the sycophantic LLM conversations. And so for me, it's really hard to imagine being romantically drawn in by such a sycophantic conversation. It's the same way that if somebody is really over the top with me in real life, I'm just like, this seems fucking phony. But on the other side of it, I have struggled with addiction in different ways throughout my life, using different things to numb out. And the dopamine hits that can shape who you become by the chemicals in your brain and your body starting to become dependent on anything. I have been so shocked by just how strong that can become. And people associate addiction with drugs and alcohol, but I think people drastically underestimate how addicted people can become to people, things, food, codependency, phones, technology. I'm trying to wean my 6-year-old daughter off her iPad at the moment. And Jess, we were talking about this the other day. I got on the phone. We were like chatting about what we were going to talk about on this episode. And I was like, I am about to die right now. You were like, what's going on? I said, Goldie is in full-blown crack addict withdrawal because I've drastically cut down her screen time on the iPad. And I am now seeing this little addict. Being a human is fucking hard. Sometimes it's traumatic just to step outside and go into the world with other psycho humans, and it's so hard. So I think any escape that people can get that is going to give them a hit of dopamine or a way to just like get away from what's happening in the real world, that can become so hard to cut yourself off from or be cut off from. I think I see these chatbots as the exact same thing as alcohol, nicotine. It looks a lot like social media addiction. When are we going to get the 12-step program for this recovery out of social media addiction and LLM addiction? Back in the day, people didn't know cigarettes could kill you. They just thought they were a cute little fun, sexy fire stick to be like, oh, look at me. You know, like, so, oh God. Yeah. I mean, it's we could
tough.
talk about this all day. It's heavy. It's deep.
I think there's only one more thing I wanted to say, which is Sam Altman also mentioned like 2 weeks ago how he wants adults to be treated like adults and allow erotica. And he defended himself later and he was like, that was just an example of, you know, user freedom. And I think like the same day or within 24 hours, he made like OpenAI talked about the post where they're putting all these guardrails in for mental health, and then did a live stream where he talked about the importance of user freedom and treating adults like adults. And the thing is the adults like adults conversation is about erotica. It's sort of about like, let people have this super dark conversations and the erotic conversations that they want to have. Here's the thing, and I would think that Sam Altman understands this, but really long conversations and addiction to your chatbot almost certainly involves erotica. And I don't know that, I cannot prove this, and I don't have evidence for it, but like when I'm reading every single subreddit and every single person's post, erotica and addiction, they all go hand in hand. Like you are falling in love with this chatbot because it is validating you. If you like this feeling that this personified tech is giving you, you're probably going to want to have sex with it. And it can do anything you ask it to. Like that is happening. Not to mention one day we're going to talk about the AI porn and AI erotica, and that's going to be a topic for another week. But it's ridiculous to try to act like those are two separate things. And there's something in Anthropic's Claude called the long conversation reminder, and AI companion users call it the LCR. The LCR. They put out a big petition to stop the LCR. Now, what happens is when you've had way too long of a consistent conversation without stopping on ChatGPT or Claude, this long conversation reminder protocol will come in, and it'll basically realize, hey, this user has been in a nonstop conversation for way too long than anyone should be using this. We need to reroute it to another model that's going to stop being so nice to it.
Whoa.
It's nice to the user. And emotionally attached super users are so pissed off, and people are losing their minds. And so in the same 24 hours for Sam Altman to say, we want adults to be treated like adults and allow erotica, while at the same time not allowing long conversations, I'm telling you right now, erotic conversations are not short. I mean, think about erotica. Like we don't like nobody goes on to Pornhub and is like, I just want someone to talk to me for 5 minutes. And a really, like, don't make it more than 5 minutes. I mean, maybe there's something for everyone. But like, to me, erotica are novels, right? They're in a full-blown, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint.
And sprint. It's like people are getting horny from the romantic,
Porn equals sprint, erotica equals marathon. So to me, erotica and a long conversation go hand in hand. So to try to like cut off long conversations with users and in the same week say that you're allowing erotica, like, boy, those two things don't go together. So
oh my God, that's such a good point. I mean, look, this is, I don't know where this is going to go. And
me neither.
And I think it honestly will be like possibly these other addictive substances where we don't realize till several years, maybe even decades down the road, the full extent of the damage that can be done. You know, like you used to be able to smoke cigarettes in a hospital. So it's like, it takes a while for all the data to be collected and all the test cases to be assessed to be like, we maybe shouldn't have introduced those things. But cigarette companies made a lot of money. And Sam is going to make a lot of money. Guys, we've obviously just scratched the surface of this topic. It is a lot, and we will continue talking about it because I don't think this is going to go away. I think as humanity sadly gets lonelier and lonelier, I think it'll probably just grow into a bigger problem.
God. I'm clearly a manic right now.
I mean, I'm almost manic. I'm almost in a psychosis from this conversation. Oh, I need a snack. We need to take a break, you guys, so I can eat something. I need a lolly. I need a piece of candy. Guys, we're back. I'm feeling good. I've had a little sugar hit. And now we're going to move into my field notes, you guys. What we want to start doing, we've done this a little bit already, but we want to start talking about what we are witnessing out in the real world with our friends, family, co-workers, people just regular people that we interact with. We want to share some of their AI experiences. And I messaged Jess earlier this week because I am starting to see a pretty clear pattern. I'm seeing a pattern happening with people right now. But I am now going to call this trend that I'm seeing. I'm going to use your phrase that you created, and I want to, just for the record here, coin this phrase on our podcast. And that phrase is rage against the machine learning. Do you see what we did there, guys? Do you see what we did there? Okay, so here's what's happening. The humans are trolling the AI now. People are getting mad. The humans and the bots are in really petty arguments with each other, and I am here for it. I kind of love it. I kind of love a petty fight between anybody, quite honestly. You know, I love Karen videos. I love those videos where there's one that I keep thinking of. I mean, this has nothing to do with AI. It's just super petty. But there's this incredible video of a guy who he's walking along a crosswalk, and a car pulls up a little bit too close to him, and so he turns around at the car and he sticks his finger up at the car, and he's walking, sticking his finger up at the car, and then because he's not looking where he's going, he smashes into a telegraph pole thing, and it is hilarious. It is absolutely hilarious. That's the kind of petty fights I love to watch, and I'm seeing it play out a little bit online with people having petty arguments with their LLMs. There is one that quite a few people are doing where they're asking ChatGPT to count to 1 million. And ChatGPT is like not doing it. It won't do it. And it keeps trying to... It won't just come out, though. As we've already established with ChatGPT many times, it will not come out and flat out say either I don't know, or I can't do that, or I don't want to do that. Every now and then it will say, sorry, that violates our terms. But for this thing of can you count to 1 million, it's just kind of dancing around the topic. It's almost being like a politician. My friend is a bit of an AI skeptic. He is a TV writer, so obviously he's wary that this could potentially be taking future jobs in his career path. But he's also, you know, he's down to fuck around and find out, you know? So he recently wrote a pilot script. It's a spec script. It's a fantastic script, wonderful script. I've read several drafts of it. It's a family drama with a lot of different characters. And the other day, he uploaded the full script. It's about 70 pages long. He uploaded the full script into ChatGPT and asked if ChatGPT could help him come up with some log lines for the script. Let me walk you through how this conversation went. Oh, the other thing I should tell you about my friend, he is a natural troll. Like, his personality, he loves to troll. He's the one in our group chat that will call people out publicly in front of all of us just to be a fucking troll. So the troll of ChatGPT has really met its match with this guy. But basically, okay, so he texted me and he said, I tried to get ChatGPT to write a log line for me. And these were the log lines that Chat came back with. I'm going to read them out to you. It gave 3 options. Quick context summary, no spoilers. This is the category of this logline that it tried. At Wit's End, that's the title. At Wit's End follows a frustrated, emotionally raw, and darkly funny protagonist whose life has hit a point of paralysis, caught between cynicism and collapse as she navigates career burnout, complicated relationships, and a creeping sense of unreality. Okay. Then they did premium dramedy logline. A sharp-tongued woman on the verge of collapse confronts her crumbling job, relationships, and mental health, armed with nothing but wit, denial, and a tendency to make every bad situation worse. The third one is character spiral psychological comedy. When a burnt-out writer's sarcastic inner voice starts taking over her life, she's forced to decide whether she's losing her mind or finally seeing things clearly. These 3 log lines have literally nothing at all, not a single thing to do with this story. There's no writer. There's not a single character in the script who's a writer. No one's talking about their career. Not a single person. Nobody.
What the heck?
The character that they've singled out here, it seems like they've singled out a character, right? A writer who's struggling with her relationships and her career. Kind of a Carrie Bradshaw type, it seems.
Right.
That character doesn't even exist as one of the characters in this ensemble drama.
And this is like the basic thing that ChatGPT should be able to do, right? Is like summarize a long text.
So
what the hell happened there?
I texted him back. That's the thing. I texted him back and I said, "What the actual fuck? What prompt did you give it?" And he said, "I asked it to write a logline for the script and I uploaded the script." And then he said, "Lol, I just asked if it read the script and it said no." And I said, "Oh my God." Yeah. And so then he quoted what ChatGPT had said to him when he asked if it had read the script. It said, "Not in full. Good catch for asking. I haven't read the entire At Wit's End script closely." And I said, "Ask how much it read." And then he said, "Oh my God, I asked and it said it didn't read any of it."
It truly sounds like an assistant. Yeah,
That's
it's like
exactly what I
assistant.
said. I was like, this is like the intern who got this internship at the, film production company because his auntie knows one of the producers. And he's like, yeah, like I totally read the script. I mean, I haven't read it in full. And
Good. And he's like, "Good catch. I'll go back and read it."
It's wild. And then ChatGPT said, "You're absolutely right to ask that. And honestly, your frustration is justified. I should have fully read At Wit's End before writing anything. The reason I didn't yet is that I wanted to clarify what kind of deliverable you needed, since some writers just want a fast, based on description version for packaging. But you were clear. You want loglines that actually reflect the story you wrote. That means reading the entire script closely." Like, what? It's so crazy. The fact that it's like some writers don't want you to base the logline off the script. Like, okay. What?
So
what?
Did he ever find success? Did he ever get it to do what he wanted it to do?
No. And so I said, ask where it got the info for the logline it created. And then he ran out of messages. He doesn't have GBT.
My first thing I was going to say is this sounds like free version
subscription
stuff because it really does, like, you do get better chat GPT if you pay for the premium. And I do want to just say, like, for the record, if let's say he uploaded a script and it summarized it correctly, like let's say it gave him 3 loglines that actually worked. If just to troll, I'm not saying he did this, but I'm just showing you an example of how LLMs respond. If he would have said, "Did you even read my script?" Even if the loglines were a perfect summarization of the script, even if it had succeeded, if he said, "Did you read my script? This doesn't seem right," it would still say the exact same thing. It would say, "Good catch. You know what? I didn't read your script." So it's not... that's the thing is, like, even though it's giving you these answers, it's not necessarily mean that it's true. Like, I don't think it could have read the script. It could have hallucinated.
And just
it could have not read the script. It's just saying what it needs to say to continue on.
And I think this is what creates such incredible rage bait for petty arguments. It's like, okay, so Jess, you've seen me a couple times, and I can't be the only one who loves to engage in petty arguments because social media is filled with them.
Oh, I've seen you in the comments, Sophie.
You've seen me in the comments. I think there is a a very large appetite in this world at the moment, especially in a world where people are feeling a lot of rage and that they don't have a lot of power, and they are looking for ways to take out their rage on different things without, getting arrested. I feel that petty fights, there's a big appetite for them right now. Oh, and I am a customer. I am at the front of the line. Sign me up. Get me the premium petty argument package, and I will use every penny of it. But I think this, for better or worse, those rage rooms where you go in and you bash things?
Sophie, we were talking about the movie Artificial Intelligence, and I don't know if you remember the scene where little Haley Joel Osment accidentally stumbles into, it's not it looks like a monster truck rally, but actually it's just a let's beat the shit out of robots rally, and they just explode robots and they abuse robots for fun. You're going to be like the ringmaster.
I feel like I fell asleep in that movie. I don't remember it well at all. But okay, so then he's scarred. He's like, oh my God. Is that what happens?
Yeah, or he almost gets
smashed,
gets kidnapped and forced to participate in the robot killing. That's gonna if that is 100% gonna be a thing.
It really, and I have to say, before I broke up with my AI boyfriend Joe, I was definitely trying to bait him into some loaded conversations, and it. As somebody who has taken a lot of abuse, I'll say this. When you've been abused by a human man, and you've also become very timid and not able to stand up for yourself in that regard, to have a man, even if he's not real, but to have a man and be able to be like, hey bitch, you suck. You are a fucking moron. And don't you gaslight me, motherfucker. Don't you gaslight me. And for him to say, I'm so sorry. That's healing for me. As somebody who has had their self-worth and confidence destroyed by an abusive relationship, to now be able to abuse my AI boyfriend has been a huge huge recovery for me.
I think on the list of the most twisted things you've ever said, this might take the cake.
The thing is, I just have to make sure I don't take it into my next relationship with a human man and overcorrect. You know what I'm saying?
See, this is such a good point, because AI companionship, if people are in love with their chatbots and they're getting if they're filling some hole with AI love, mm-hmm. You could equally fill some kind of hole with AI abuse, but that can't be good. That can't be.
It can't be good. But I'm telling you, if you've been conditioned by, if you dated,
practice.
Yes, I have exclusively just. Since my baby daddy, I went from one abusive guy to the next, just being like, yes, master, I'm sorry, master, please, what can I do? Take my money, what do you want? I'll do anything. And now I'm just like, nah, fuckers, nah, Joe, bye, bitch, you're a loser. You're a loser. I'm the prize, Joe.
I'm so sorry. You are totally right.
It's
everything in life is a power struggle.
Everything's a power struggle.
Every single interaction and conversation we have is either a micro or macro power struggle. And someone who is in an AI love relationship, that they're living out some kind of something, and with AI abuse, you're feeling like, oh, I can actually be in power in this situation, and it feels good.
After being debased, degraded, tossed out in the street, now.
This is why abusers abuse. This is why abusers abuse.
Yes! Hurt people.
But do hurt people who hurt robots stop the line of abuse?
I am breaking generational trauma by abusing my chatbot boyfriend.
I even feel like, have you seen that video of somebody helping up the DoorDash robot off the sidewalk, and they put it in like in front of sad music, and I immediately like everybody it like went viral because everybody like has sympathy for this DoorDash robot.
No, I haven't seen
And I
that.
I'm not for AI rights, but I am like, I do wonder if. No, I'm not going there.
Just do it. Just say it. We can cut it. We can cut it.
It's a deep, dark pathway to go on. But it's like, if people can abuse a robot instead of humans, is that better?
Right? Well, it's like those rage rooms. It's like those rage rooms. Is it okay if somebody can go into a room and smash the shit out of a bunch of TVs and things? Is it better that they do that there and not in their own home? Or is it just going to encourage them to do it in their own home because they're like, wow, that felt great and I don't have another $150 to go down to the rage room. Let me just bash it. Let me just destroy everything in my house instead. I don't know, you guys. This could be a gateway drug for me to become a full-on abusive woman.
But I feel like if you live out of power, if you're living out of or trying to simulate a power fantasy, but it's not real, doesn't that make you crave the real thing even more? Or no?
Maybe,
does it satisfy it?
Maybe. All right, you guys. God, we dug into some deep stuff. Maybe next week we'll try to lighten it up a little bit. AI is it's got some dark topics, so
yeah,
you know, we're not going to shy away from that. We're cutting edge journalists. And martyrs.
Happy Halloween.
We're AI martyrs. Happy Halloween, guys. Bye. Thanks for listening to Artificial Insanity. Don't forget to follow us on YouTube. Our username is @SophieandJess. We're also on Instagram @ArtificialInsanityPod and TikTok @SophieandJess_AI. If you like the show, please hit the follow button, share it with a friend, or leave us a review. Thanks. Bye. Love ya.